The sky's patterns. Daily patterns. During the day, there is light. At night, it is dark. This is a pattern that repeats all the time. The causes of these patterns are the movement of Earth and sunlight, the sun and Earth. The sun is always in the sky. It is there during the day, at night, and in all kinds of weather. The sun is a star. It is a round, glowing ball of hot gases. It gives light and heat to Earth. Earth is also round like the sun, but much smaller. It does not make its own light. Earth needs light from the sun, day and night. Only half of Earth's round surface faces the sun at any one time. The part facing the sun is lit by sunlight. The other half of Earth is dark since it faces away from the sun. To us, it looks like the sun is moving across the sky. However, it is really Earth that is moving. Suppose that Earth is a ball of clay with a pencil running through its center from the top to the bottom. Spin the pencil. Then you can get an idea of how Earth spins around its axis. Earth's axis is an imaginary line that runs through the planet. It passes through the North Pole and the South Pole. Earth spins around its tidal axis. It turns counterclockwise from west to east. It takes 24 hours for Earth to make one complete rotation or spin around its axis. As it rotates, half of Earth is lit by the sun. It is daytime for that part of Earth. And half of Earth that is facing away from the sun is dark. Every part of Earth has day and night during these 24-hour rotations. Earth always rotated at the same speed. Because of this, the sun seemed to move in predictable pattern across the sky. Changing shadows. As the sun shines, it creates shadow on Earth. A shadow happens when light, such as sunlight, shines on an object. The objects block the light. Then the shadow appears at the surface beneath or behind the objects. The shadow is part of a surface that is not getting light. Shadows are the same shapes as the objects that stop the light. Unlike the objects, shadows change length and directions. This is because shadows depend on where the sun is in the sky. Early in the morning, the sun appears in the east. Showers in the time are long and stretch away from the sun towards the west. Shadows grow shorter as the sun seems to move higher in the sky. By noon, the sun appeared at its highest. The shadows are at their shortest. As the sun kept moving toward the west, shadows became longer once again. But now it stretched east. This is the opposite direction from the sun. Early pattern Earth movement. While Earth spins on its axis, it also revolves around the sun. One complete trip around the sun is called revolutions. It takes about 1 year or 365 days for Earth to make one revolution. Okay, so here is the sun. So here is Earth with imaginary lines called an axis go through it. You just imagine, yeah. So it takes 1 year for Earth to spin across the sun, or 365 days. That is 1 year. 1 year is equal 365 days, or 365 days equal 1 year. And in 1 year, it moves around the sun. Here, so in the spring, here, I think it's closer to sun. And when it goes to here, when the northern part of the earth is tilted toward the sun, it is summer there. Here is summer. And in the fall to the winter. Oh, now here it's winter now.
No, fall. Here is the fall.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. During part of a trip around the sun, the northern half of Earth tilted towards the sun. When this happens, the northern half gets the most. When this happens, the northern half gets the most direct rays of sunlight. It is heated the most. It also has more hours of daylight than darkness each day. At this other time during Earth's trip around the sun, the southern half of Earth is tilted toward the sun. Then this part of Earth getting more direct sunlight, heat, and hour of light, making season. Earth's tilted axis is and its movement around the sun cause season. Temperatures and amount of sunlight change the predictable way throughout the year. Boston or Massachusetts tilted toward the sun in June. This is because it is located on the northern half of Earth. Its southern southern half, such as Brasilia, below, tilted away from the sun. Boston is warmer at that time of year because it receives more sunlight. There is more hours of daylight than darkness each day, but in Brasilia, it is colder. There is less sunlight, and there are more hours of darkness in a day. We say it is summer in Boston and winter in Brasilia. As frogs grow near Boston receives less sunlight, while Brasilia starts to receive more. The amount of The amount of daylight and darkness each day are almost equal in both cities. It is cooler than summer, but warmer than winter. When Boston pointed away from the sun, it is winter. Temperatures are cooler, and there are fewer hours of daylight and darkness. When Brazil points towards the sun, it is summer. That means more sunlight and warmer temperature. The moon is about 384,000 kilometers or 239,000 miles away from Earth. That makes it Earth's closest neighbor. Like Earth, the moon rotates on its axis. The moon also revolves around Earth. It takes about 29 days to make one rotation on its axis, and one revolution around Earth is in relation to the sun. At night, the moon is the brightest natural object in the sky. The moon does not make its own light. It reflects light from the sun, and we see the moon because sunlight shines on it and bounces off. The moon is always in the sky, and we always see the same side of it. Sometimes we can see it during the day, but it is not as bright as it is at night. This is because the sunlight shining on Earth is brighter than the light that reflects off the moon. The moon phases. Sometimes the moon looks like a bright circle at night. All the time we can't see it at all. The look of the moon follows a changing pattern. This pattern repeats about every 4 weeks. Each different way that the moon looks is called a phase. Half of the moon is always lighted by the sun, but we don't always see the entire light half. This is because of the way Earth and the moon move around each other and the sun during the phase called a new moon. We cannot see the moon at all. This is because the moon is between Earth and the sun. The dark half of the moon is facing Earth. As the moon continues to revolve, we see a bit more of it each night. About 2 weeks after the new moon, we are able to see all the lighted part of the moon. Now it looks like a circle. This phase is called a full moon. For the next 2 weeks, we see less and less of the moon until finally it is a new moon again. The lunar eclipse. When lunar eclipse happens, when Earth moves between the sun and the moon, when Earth blocks the sun's light, it made a shadow on the moon. This shadow moves slowly over the moon's surface until it covers it completely. Then the shadow slowly moves off the moon. A lunar eclipse is not a phase of the moon and doesn't happen as often. Star pattern. Looking at star. When you look at the sky on a clear dark night, you can see thousands of stars. Some of them are larger than the sun, but they look small because they are so far away. Some stars are dimmer and harder to see than others. This is because they are the farthest away. It is difficult for one or our eyes to see them, but there are many stars that cannot be seen at all without special tools. Galileo and the telescope. The telescope is a tool that made...
Who is it?
Well, Galileo made important discoveries about space. He is a man that made important discoveries about space. He made out the telescope and he was a scientist who lived in
Italy.
yeah.
Okay.
And he was important because he found out that there are space and sun and stars. There are different kinds of telescopes. Most try to allow as much light as possible into the telescope. They are made with mirrors that reflect light and lenses that bend light. These telescopes make objects appear bigger and brighter. Galileo was a scientist who lived in Italy from 1564 to 1642. He did not invent the telescope. Oh, sorry. He did not invent the telescope yet. But he is known for making one that could magnify the object in 20 by 20 times. With his telescope, Galileo discovered many new things in space. At that time, most people thought that the sun revolved around Earth. Galileo's experiment and observation helped show that Earth revolved around the sun. The Hubble Space Telescope. While most telescopes are meant to be used on Earth, the Hubble Space Telescope was built for use in space. It's about 600 kilometers, 375 miles above Earth. It revolves around Earth every 97 minutes. Scientists receive pictures and information about space for the Hubble telescope. This has taught them lots about far away stars and planets in our solar system. Ooh, look at this. Oh, there are constellations. Look, I am a Cancer. Yeah, I like this one. Look, I also see a Scorpius. Or how about a Leo? A Leo is a lion. A Cancer is a crab, and a Scorpius is a, scorpion. Long ago, people noticed that group star made patterns in the sky. These patterns often look like animals, people, or other things. They gave name to these patterns and make a story about them. A group of stars that makes a pattern is called a constellation. Today, we use many of the constellation names that people create In ancient time, different group of people create. In ancient time, different people had different name and story for the constellations. Many of the name and story came from legend. One constellation is Ursa Major, which means Great Bear. We can see the Big Dipper in the body and tail of the bear. The story in ancient Greek is told about constellation was that an angry god turned a woman into a bear. Other cultures told the girl who turned herself into a bear. Then she chases her sister and brother. To escape her, they all flew into the sky, where they became the constellation of the Great Bear. The star in the constellations may look close together, but they're really very far apart. Because of this, they would not make the same pattern you look at them from space. Earth's movement changed the pattern of stars. As Earth rotated on its axis, the star appeared to move across the sky. The constellation also will change positions as the season change. The constellation in the winter sky are different from those in the summer sky. Only the North Star does not appear to move. This is why people have used the North Star for 100 years to help them find their ways. This star made of the dipper help people find the North Star. Ooh, look. Let's see. Up here, down here, up here, and up to here. But this was up to here. Yeah, alright. Now, moving on is the sky has love pattern. Earth and the moon are always following pattern as they move. Earth's movement makes it change from day to night and from season to season. We can learn a lot by studying these patterns and other objects in the sky, such as the sun and stars. Year after year, Earth continues to follow some amazing patterns. The end. Thank you for listening.